Hello and welcome back to another episode of World Traveler Cooking. Again, they're still tearing down the house next door, so if you hear it pounding, that's what it is. Today we're going to continue with our French sauces series, and we will make Choron sauce. Choron, which is sort of like a Béarnaise, but it has tomato in it as well. This is a great application of daughter sauce theory, and so it's a great one to look at in this regard. Basically, Hollandaise is sort of like the base, then you add the stuff to make Béarnaise, and then you add tomato. So, here are the ingredients. We have 130 grams of butter. We have about the equivalent of one European shallot. We use 2 egg yolks, 70 milliliters of white wine, vinegar. You could actually use white wine for this too, if you want. We will then use 1 bay leaf, a teaspoon of dried tarragon. Fresh tarragon would be better, but I can't get it right now, and it's not always available at all times of the year, and then about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Finally, at the end, we will add tomato paste, more or less, however we want to. So, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to peel and chop these shallots, and then we'll get the first step going, which is to make our reduction. So, into our saucepan, I put the cracked pepper. I just broke it with this rock, but you can use the back of a knife. And our shallots. We will add our other seasonings as well. Then we will add the vinegar, and we will set this on to cook over roughly a medium heat, and we will reduce this down to about 1 tablespoon. So till there's very little liquid left, but just a little bit. So while that's going on, I will go ahead and get the next step going, which is setting up the butter. So the butter goes into another saucepan, but I'm not going to melt it yet. I'm going to wait until we're just about, well, once the eggs are starting to solidify, or once the eggs are starting to get beaten, then we'll go ahead and do that. In the meantime, I will go ahead and separate my eggs and get that all set up. So we're still not quite there yet. I would say this looks like about 3 tablespoons left, but we're getting close. The smell is just absolutely delicious. So looking forward to this, and it's just going to be a few more minutes. This may still be just a little above 1 tablespoon, but it's looking pretty good, so I'm just going to move on to the next step. We're going to go ahead and pour this into a sieve and scrape this all out here. Amazingly some strong smell of tarragon on this. I might have to reconsider and mostly do this with dried tarragon going forward. And then we're going to scrape it through the sieve as much as we can. What we're left with is a very small amount of a reduction. And yeah, this will be the basis for our sauce going forward. The next step is to turn this into a bain-marie. I'm not actually going to clean this pot yet. I don't see a point to it. So just some water in there. Put this on top, and we add our egg yolks. Now, it's critically important that the water does not get up to the bottom of this bowl. So we're now going to put this back here and turn on the heat to about a medium heat. And we're going to start with our whisk. And we're just going to start whisking this together. At the same time, we're going to start melting the butter. And once the egg just starts to thicken up a little bit, then we'll start adding melted butter into it. A little bit at a time, making a nice emulsion. So I'll be back once the egg starts to thicken. So we're not thickening yet, but we are seeing that it is actually kind of aerating a bit, just like with the Pogo Mogul. So we're just going to keep doing this, and eventually we will start to see it go, we ought to see it start to thicken just a little bit. Even if we don't, once the butter's melted, if the butter is warm, we can start to mix a little bit in at a time. You can see another video where I talk about the hot butter method. The idea is that the egg yolks do need to slightly cook. So we're just going to keep this up going for a little bit, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, this is starting to look a little thicker. So I'm going to let it keep going just a little bit, and then we will be adding in the butter as it's... The butter is also almost melted. So this is about the right timing. Unfortunately now it's raining, so there may be sound quality issues. I'm very sorry for that. Okay, so this is now thickening up, and the butter is melted, so I'm going to just add a little bit. And we'll whisk that in. A little more. Whisk that in. I'm going to take the heat off because that's thickening really fast. I'm afraid it's going to cook. Yeah, let's take this off completely. I'm actually going to even take this off the hot water. So this actually got quite a bit too hot and started to cook. So I have added another egg yolk to both cool things down and re-emulsify, and that seems like it's working okay. So I'm going to start adding more butter. Still looking good. At this point I'm just going to start whisking in the rest of the butter really fast because I think I have everything. I think I have a good enough emulsion. And there we have it. The sauce is saved by an extra egg yolk. So keep extra eggs around when you make a sauce like this. If the temperature does get too hot and the egg yolk starts to cook, just throw in another egg yolk to save your sauce. But don't do it too late or else it will fully cook. Next, we spike this with the tomato. Sorry I'm a bit sweaty. Cooking does that sometimes in the tropical climates. But now for the taste test. Just going to take just a little bit of sauce here first. Sauce is interesting. It has that sort of rich hollandaise aspect, and then you get the tomatoes. It's quite delicious. I think this will be great with the steak. Now I'm going to try a piece of steak. That's an interesting effect. There's something about beef and tomatoes that go really, really well together. And this kind of just shows that off against the background of this really rich sauce. It's very, very nice. I like it very much. And intend to make it many, many more times. So if you find this content interesting, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. Additionally, if you have anything to say about this dish, feel free to let me know in the comments. I always enjoy these sorts of discussions. At any rate, recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week. It's a little too big.